I thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure to hit that like button. As I have noticed, there's about 400 to 500 people that consistently come in here and watch the midday market report. We've had as many as 1,400 views on a market report, but on average it's between 400 and 500. So I want to thank everybody as we've had some movement in gold. As we can see, gold's up over $2,000 an ounce on its way to its technical target here. So we'll take a look at that a little bit closer. But first, let me timestamp this, and then we'll get into an overall report on the market at the end of this update. We'll go through the charts first, and we'll get a report. So the Dow, good mid-afternoon, 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, October 27th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So the Dow Jones is down 312 points today, or about 1% at 32,469. We are right down now against the resistance. We followed through it, and now it looks like to me the Dow could very well, if it breaches this and uses this as a resistance, our tactical move down should be to the bottom of this broadening wedge, and it should get us there. Good afternoon, Darren. Welcome in. I thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you're having a blessed start to your day, mate. And this dot cross is trying to play out here in the daily. So to me, it seems like we know it's a broadening wedge. It feels like it needs to come down here. See if this broadening wedge is going to hold. These are very bullish. If it can hold, this is a bullish consolidation. So yeah, it seems bearish at first when you come down and consolidate and see if you can hold this new form pattern. Doesn't necessarily have to come all the way down there if a wick pulls back to 32,580, but the fact we've come down and breached it seems to reek to me that we may be on our way down to about 31,000 area, 30,900. DXY is down about 0.06%, flat about 7 cents down. Built this beautiful W reversal though. So we're going to have to watch with gold and silver if this is a fake out today on this correction or if this is coming down. If this W plays out, we're going to come up to about that 107 spot 30. And then ultimately, if this plays up, I still think the US dollar can get up to 109 before the end of the year, assuming they continue to increase it in value to make it not look so bad across the economy in the USA. This is one tactic that our government's been using nonstop here, and now with the emergence of war, it allows them to open the printing presses. So you might get a rate hike this month, or on this next meeting by the Fed, which would be next month, I believe it is, unless it's in November. I think it is next month. So I think you'll get probably a rate hike coming forward, but we'll see. The 10 years up 0.01. It was down. It's had a sudden reversal here. It was down, but now it's starting to push back up. Not much steam, but it looks like it needs to come down and retest. Assuming it wants to come down to the daily, that's 4.76%. We could come down even farther. But like I've been saying, nobody wants these bonds. So unless the government's going to buy into it and it lowers these, if no one's buying it, it's just going to keep coming parabolically. And this is a bull flag again. Unless it needs to come down a little farther in the 4.7 range, this technically could come up to the 5.07 in a very short time frame here. So that's what I'm waiting for. I think with a high probability we're coming up there. And then there's about a 58% chance we can come all the way up to 5.9. And that would be crazy. Crazy. The fact I'm saying it's over 50% is insane. Just in my own head. It's insane. We've got crude is up 2.56% today at $85.57 a barrel, or up $2.12. And that's US dollars, US barrels, or for us in US dollar. 85.56. We're still working on a very big cup and handle. We're trying to put in a massive W reversal, and if this right side pulls up, this looks like a W reversal here, but if this pulls up, we've talked about this, we'll continue to talk about it. I mean, if you pull this out, you could say that that's a big W coming in here, because you had a W up, but it makes it for a grand scale W. That could parabolically push us out. First level would be $93, and then all of a sudden, when do we get up to that 106 or 109 and ultimately 123 level? I think there's a very high probability we're going to start to reverse rally back up. Or not reverse rally, but continue up in the days or weeks ahead. But that's still to be determined. Gold-silver ratio becomes a little more inviting, even more here, up over 87 to 1 at 87.09 to 1. We're up about 16.5 cents here on the gold-silver ratio of 0.19%. we're still coming up to what looks like this first major resistance up here with the gold silver ratio. It's up here at about this 88.22. If we break that, we're coming up to 91. I still think that's what we're trying to trend to, and this is going to be a nice recovery. Now, why is that? Is that because gold's going up, or because silver's going up slower, or is it because they're going to fall down? That's what we don't know. Right now, gold and silver are having a good day, up about 20 bucks. It came to fulfill this technical target, which we've talked about at 2009. So that's where it looks like we're at. If we break 2009, we very easily could come up to first layer should be around 2021. But if we break that, you're talking 2075 area. Could even get beat down by 2038 in the middle, but that's your next big move. If this breaks out and holds and loses this pivot point, we might come way up there to 2075, maybe even 2100. So like I said, you can't count on this to just keep going down. I want it to. We all want it to if we want to buy for cheaper. But I've been acquiring since 2017. This is more for me about B2 gold. I want to buy it a little bit cheaper. But as we know, I've talked about, if this inverted hammer is correct, if this is actually how this is playing out to end the week, I would like to see this squeeze how it is right now. If this is an inverted hammer, this is telling us if we close at 319 approximately or higher, this could be a very bullish end of the week, and this is going to rock it out next week. So honestly, we have to make a very tough decision before the close at 4 p.m. today if you're going to want to get in this. Well, actually, if it depends where you buy it. Because some you can wait until 8. But this is starting to put in that inverted hammer, and if this is bullish, we could be starting an attempt up here. Especially a close over this 319 would be pretty big. That is that pattern formation, and this looks like it could be very well putting in that reversal. B2 gold, that's a mining stock. It has nothing to do with my personal... Okay, so if you're talking about B2 gold, it's speculative. That's just a mining company. So I like to have precious metals, gold and silver. I have a little bit of platinum, but mainly gold and silver. So I look at some of the companies that mine it. Well, B2 Gold's one of the most undervalued ones in my opinion. Production's great. The only thing I'm waiting for was the P ratio to come down, which it did a little bit, but it's still a little high. I like to buy it when it's under 9. Right now it's up towards 10 or 11 still. So we'll see how this plays out. But for me, the mining stocks, yeah, it's a company. But they've had their record output this year in silver. So to me, it makes sense. They mainly do gold, but they've had their record output this year in silver production and mining. But they also pay a healthy dividend around 6% right now. It's actually about 5.8 right now. You know, over a year to year, it's going to be over 5, unless they get up back towards that $5.50, $6 range. So, and right now, this looks like a W could be starting. A nice V-shaped recovery. It just looks like a big reversal here starting. So, it really is a tough call. But that's exactly where I wanted to buy. Unless it came down to 240, we've talked about, there was 2 buying points where we circled here and then we waited. We decided not to buy it at 313 back here to wait for confirmation unless we came down to 240. Otherwise, the moment here would be right around this 319 area, and that's exactly where we're at. Yes, I know we had a death cross, but we're on our way to invalidating it right now in the daily. We've already had a bullish cross. Now we're just converging. If we get that breakout to start the week, this should consolidate here to end the week. But the way gold is finishing the week, this could be pointing to something bigger here. Now, the problem is, I'll continue to say it, the U.S. dollar just put in a massive W. If this plays up, we might have to watch this come to 107. So what does that mean for mining stocks and gold? Makes me kind of want to wait it out. But we'll see. We'll see. If I do anything, you guys will all be the first to know. And then last but not least, silver in this part of it. And then we'll look at crypto real quickly. Silver's up 1.15% or 26.5 cents an ounce at 23.03 an ounce now. Again, just like gold, we put in these nice corrective waves. And instead of bouncing down, we took the alternative route back up. And instead of getting rejected in here, we ended up getting on top. And now we're using it as support. In that scenario, you would be looking for a bounce out to 24.42 approximately. Right where X marks the spot, ironically. So that's what looks like it's playing out. Looks like we're putting in an inverted head and shoulders here as well. I just think that's what's starting to happen now. Now we have to look at it from the objective of, okay, it flushed some out. But if this is a reversal, you should come up here. So But if the dollar does what it does and it pumps unbelievably, it could shoot it back down. But being on the top side of this formation, that should lead you to thinking that it's more bullish than bearish for the fact that we're holding it here. And once we break that, then we can start talking. But as long as it's holding, I'm not biased either way, so I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't give a rat's ass which way it goes. I'm just going to make a plan either way and try to fulfill what I'm trying to do. The total crypto market cap down 1.86% to 1.213. It's corrective. We talked about this yesterday. The corrective phase, we had to see if we were going to hold here. So it's at 1.20. Right now it's a hammer candle, bearish hammer. You'd want this to pull up a little bit before the daily close. Probably, if I was guessing, above 1.22 would make that a bullish hammer. Could be a little higher, plus minus ratio, obviously. Bitcoin, we're down about 679 points, or 1.99% to 33,486. And if anybody watched the morning update today, this should not be a surprise to anybody. Should not be a surprise to anybody. We've talked about this over and over and over. Bitcoin is reversing now. And how far does it go? We don't know if it comes all the way back down here to 30,232. We don't know if it's just going to try to hold the 20-day here. But the moment this gives way, that's a bad sign that we would have to come down probably 6-7%. You need to hold the top of this broadening wedge to confirm a new breakout to 37,680 or 863. If you get rejected here, there's always a chance to come all the way back down to the wedge. Nobody says it. Look how volatile it is right now. But right now, we haven't given anything back. So let's just look at those two areas and see what happens. And then with XRP, make sure you watch that morning update. I'll give you a brief look at what's going on. But I called for this morning, so please watch that update. We talked about how we had to retest here now that we lost 55 cents. And especially if we lost it, we were in a long leg doji this morning. Now if it could pull up, now it's starting to spread back down. If this could pull up and somehow finish back above, you could say that this is putting in a dragonfly, but right now it's bearish. You're not in a new high. You're in a lower low territory from the last daily, last several. And now we're just trying to see if down here at the 532 level would hold. And right now it has, so there's not any cause for concern. This is the corrective phase. You need liquidity to move to the next level. So we've dropped about 2.5%. For anybody who hasn't watched this morning, I mean, I sugarcoated it for everybody. I said XRP traders don't overreact. Long leg doji forms on daily time frame, looking for liquidity grab, minus 3.5 to 5% drop. Nothing more, nothing less. And unless we break that structure, this is nothing more than a standard operating procedure here. If you've watched until the end, I greatly appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button, as it really does help. And I want to read this. I would like to read through this. And I know some days that isn't the most popular. Some days we're popular on the Midday Market Report. I don't give a rat's ass either way, because I think it adds value. And I'm sorry, excuse my French, but what I mean by that is it doesn't matter to me if we have one person who enjoys it or a million. As long as one person gets value out of it, it's good enough for me. And it averages over 400 views a day, so I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. So markets mixed at midday as tech sector gets a boost from Amazon. U.S. equities were mixed at midday on Friday, October 27, 2023, after the latest batch of corporate earnings reports. The tech sector got a lift from Amazon, which beat profit and sales estimates. Solar stocks tumbled as Enphase Energy gave current quarter guidance well short of expectations. U.S. equities were mixed at midday after the latest batch of corporate earnings reports, with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ rising as the tech sector got a boost from Amazon while the Dow fell. Amazon shares jumped after the online retailer giant reported profit and revenue that beat forecasts, boosted by its Prime Day sales. Intel shares also took off as the chip maker exceeded estimates for earnings and current quarter guidance, helped by an increase in PC demand. Glucose monitoring systems maker Dexcom posted profit and outlook figures above expectations, and its shares rose. CEO Kevin Sayer indicated Dexcom could benefit from this boom in demand for obesity drugs. The best drug for obesity, working out one, walking, and let's be honest, might have to start fasting in some way, shape, or form. A pill isn't going to get the job done. I'm just telling you straight up. Shares of Enphase Energy, ENPH, plummeted as the solar power firm's current quarter guidance was well below analysis. Forecast shares of others in the sector tumbled as well. Chevron shares sank after the oil and gas producers' earnings were short of estimates and on lower oil prices and rising costs. And I actually do know what I'm talking about. I was a certified personal trainer and nutritionist. before I broke my back. Tried to do it again, and then it went out on me while I was actually doing it, so you know how that goes. Shares of Hess, which Chevron is buying for $53 billion, also lost ground. Ford Motor shares plunged as the car maker reported weaker than expected earnings and pulled back its guidance because of uncertainty, citing the impact of the United Auto Workers Union strike after reaching a tentative agreement on Wednesday. Oil's futures advanced, gold prices dropped. Not so fast, my friend. This is why I hate when they do the report before the true spin on the day. They just said gold has went down, but we all know gold and metals are having a fine day here with oil. Gold's up $23 a share, or 1.17%, retaking that critical $2,000 level. We've got silver up 1.29%, or 30 cents an ounce, to $23.06. So I don't know what the hell they're watching. But then again, they probably did this because it was the futures, so we know what they're talking about. So it's one of the reasons why you can't really look at the futures. But they talked a lot about what was going on in the market, and they used the futures instead of just looking at the gold market. So I did it for you. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Have a blessed afternoon. Hopefully you got something out of this. Make sure you share this